Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, then welcome back. My name is Anna. I love to read and just find really amazing books. So for today's video, I thought it would be really fun to go over my April TBR with you guys. The way that I like to assemble my TBR list is to choose about 6 or 7 books that I'm currently reading or wanting to prioritize for the next month. And then I do like to leave about 3 or 4 spots open so that I can choose some prompts from my little TBR jar, which is right here. And then I pulled out the prompts and pick different books from there. I usually have about 10 books a month that I will be reading. I have 7 books right here that we'll go over together, and then we will choose the 4 remaining prompts from the TBR jar together and go over those after. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you guys saw the last video I posted, that was my spring TBR list. So some of the books on here you're probably gonna see from that video, but there are a couple of new ones in here as well. And then obviously with the TBR jar prompts at the end, there's gonna be a couple new ones as well. The first book that I chose for myself to read is The Alchemist, and this is written by Paulo Coelho. I actually have never read this book before, and it's a pretty small book, so I thought this would be a really great way to just go ahead and knock out a book that I've been really wanting to check out for a little while. This is supposed to be a story about a shepherd boy who basically goes on a journey to find some sort of worldly treasure, and on the way he learns a lot more lessons and finds out a lot more about himself than he thought he would. So this is a book about self-discovery, learning how to listen to your heart and following your dreams, and I just thought this was a really fun book to go ahead and pick up. I think this is going to be a really just good message and just an easy way to start off the month of April, so I'm excited. So the second book that I chose is When Breath Becomes Air by Paul Kalanithi. This is a memoir about a neurosurgeon who is diagnosed with end-stage cancer, and this is his reflection on having to switch from being a doctor to being a patient and what his experience is like. He also touches a lot on just the journey of life, so I feel like this is a really wholesome read, and I'm just really excited to read this book. I've heard really amazing things, and I'm just really excited to check this one out. All right, so then the next book that I chose is Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This is a story about 2 friends. They actually create a video game together and have some pretty big overnight success. So they end up having a lot of fame, and it really changes their lives. From what I gather, this is not a love story, but it is about love. I think there's a lot more to this story in regards to friendship and dealing with success and failures and setbacks. So I'm really curious to see what this book is about, and I've just heard really great things about it, so I'm excited to pick this one up. And then the next book I decided to pick up is a little bit more lighthearted, and that is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. So from what I understand, this is a little bit more of a lighthearted kind of funny read. So this is about a failed bank robber and his attempt to hold 8 people hostage at an open house that's taking place. From what I understand, these hostages are unique in certain ways, and they collaborate together to kind of figure out how to get themselves out of this situation. I've heard really great things about this book. I've heard it's very funny, so I'm very excited to check this one out. And then the next book that I chose is Vicious, and this is written by V.E. Schwab. This is actually the first book in a fantasy duology. This is called the Villains Duology, and this is about 2 best friends who I believe are in medical school together, and in their final year they're working together on a senior project, and they end up giving themselves superpowers. But something goes very wrong and they end up becoming arch nemesis. Honestly, I feel like I have been staring at this book on my shelves for the last couple months, and I am just really intrigued by what the story is about, and I think just the fact that this is another V.E. Schwab series really has me called to pick it up, because I feel like everything that I've read by V.E. Schwab so far has been a really unique and a really cool experience, honestly. So this one I'm really looking forward to. So then the next book that I chose is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Surprise, surprise, I had to throw this one in here. Like I mentioned in my last video, I am really prioritizing getting this duology read and off my TBR list. I really have just heard wonderful things about this series. These just sound really fun, and I really am intrigued to check out what a fantasy heist is like. So I'm very excited for this one. All right, you guys, and then the last book that I chose for myself is Jade War. This is written by Fonda Lee. So this is the second book in the Greenbone saga. I did just finish reading Jade City in the beginning of this month, and I really enjoyed it. In the first book, we did have a lot of world building and getting used to new characters and just what the magic system itself was like. And honestly, I really enjoyed the first book. I thought it was very unique and it was very intense as well. So I'm really intrigued to see what the second book has in store and where this one's going to take us. So I'm really nervous, but I'm excited to read this one as well. All right, you guys, so those were all the 7 books that I kind of pre-planned for myself to read, but now I'm going to go ahead and pull the 4 prompts from my TBR jar and go ahead and see what other books we will be adding to this month's read. All right, so what I'll do is I'll just pull all 4 prompts first, and then I will go over to the bookshelf and just grab all the books that I think are gonna work and show you guys what I choose. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, so for prompt number 1, all right, we have, ooh, okay, so we have a cozy read. So that sounds kind of fun. All right, I'm intrigued. All right, now prompt number 2, I'll have to think about that, cozy read. All right, any sci-fi. That, I can do that, that's fun. All right, ooh, that's exciting, that's a good one. I like that. I'm going in for prompt number 3. Let me go with this one. All right, so this says, a book that starts with the. And then finally we have, and then this last prompt is, ooh, okay, a book with a flower on the cover. I like that. That kind of works with, you know, like the April vibes. Okay, so I have all 4 prompts. So I'm looking for a cozy read, a sci-fi book, a book that starts with the, and a book with a flower on the cover. Okay, so I'm gonna take these prompts and go look for the books that I wanna read, and then I'll come back and show you guys. So it turns out I don't have a lot of books that start with the, and I don't have a lot of books that have flowers on the covers. So thankfully, some of the books I have on here are from my recent haul, and then some of these I've had just in my collection. Okay, so let's go over all the books that I grabbed and what we're gonna be adding to this month's TBR. Starting with the first prompt, which was a cozy read. I grabbed 2 choices for this prompt, and I'm not sure which one I wanna go with. And the first choice is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree, and then the second choice is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. So I was kind of waiting to read these more in the fall time, since that's when I usually prefer to read some cozy reads. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna have to make this decision just based off of how I'm feeling, and right now I'm just kind of more in the mood to pick up Emily Henry's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I actually did just pick up the second book of this as well, so I am intrigued to read this one, and I'm curious to check this one out. All right, and then the book I chose for my second prompt, which was any sci-fi book, was actually Recursion, and this is written by Blake Crouch. This is the same author who wrote Dark Matter, which is another really popular book, and honestly, I've heard really great things about both of these books. So from what the back of the book says, at first it looks like a disease, an epidemic that spreads through no known means, driving its victims mad with memories of a life they never lived. But the force that's sweeping the world is no pathogen. It's just the first shockwave unleashed by a stunning discovery. And what's in jeopardy is not our minds, but the very fabric of time itself. In New York City, there's a detective who's closing in on the truth, and in a remote laboratory, a neuroscientist is unaware that she alone holds the key to this mystery and the tools for fighting back. So together, they will have to confront their enemy before they and everyone in the world are trapped in a loop of ever-growing chaos. that doesn't sound like any books that I've ever read before, so I'm curious to check it out and see how I like it. So the third prompt that I picked was a book that starts with the word the. So I ended up choosing The Right Move by Liz Tomford. It is a contemporary romance novel, and it's actually the second book in a series of interconnected standalones. So this was the second book in the Windy City series, and I've heard a lot of great things about this book, so I'm really glad to be throwing in a contemporary romance into the mix. I feel like April already has a really big, wide variety of genres, and a couple of them are a little bit longer and heavier reads, so I'm excited just to have a nice, easy kind of palate cleanser thrown in there, and I've heard really great things about this, so this could also be a potential 5-star read. I don't know, I'm curious. I'm curious how I like it, and I'm excited to read this one. So then the last prompt that I pulled is a book with a flower on the cover, and this was actually really hard for me because all the books that I have that have flowers on the covers I've already read, so it was really tough to find one I hadn't, and thankfully I did pick one up in my current book haul. So this is 5 Feet Apart, written by Rachel Lippincott, and this is another romance novel, except this is about two lovers who actually can't be in close proximity to each other because they are both suffering from chronic conditions. So this book is supposed to be really sweet and really cute and maybe a little bit heavy. I'm excited to check this one out. I think this sounds really cute and really sweet, and again, I think it's just nice to have a couple of romance books in here since this is kind of a really mixed bag of genres this month, and there are some heavier books in here for sure. So I'm excited to be picking this up, and honestly I'm just really happy with the list of books that we put together for my April TBR. So here are all the books that I'll be reading this month. I'm super excited to read these. I feel like this is a great mix, and I am ready to rock and roll. I feel like for a lot of these books, I've just been waiting for the right time and better weather so that I can kind of get in the right headspace and mood. And I'm just super happy that we're going to be going into some really great weather soon, so we can kind of keep progressing on these really fun book genres and just different kind of books that I don't usually pick up. So as the weather gets better here in San Diego, I think it'll be really fun to take you guys along with me on reading vlogs. Maybe we can go to the beach, maybe we can go to the park and just hang out outside. I mean, wherever. I think it'll just be really fun to take you guys with me and get outside and just get some nice sunshine in and do some nice outdoor reading. So give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and let me know in the comments down below what you guys are going to be reading in the month of April. And let me know if you guys are interested in doing some reading vlogs at the beach or just reading vlogs in general, what your guys' thoughts are on that. So that was it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.